wheels had broken off. Then Trevor heard a whistle. "Oh no!" Trevor cried. Donald could see the car. Stop!
That's beautiful. I could cry.
Getting into this set and the absolute best episode of the entire classic series. I bet I got some of you. I bet I did. Sorry about that. I just wanted to trigger some people, but obviously it's not the best episode of the entire classic series. Anyways, we are getting into this set and the characters that I have included. So we have the two Scottish twin engines, Donald and Douglas. And then the third engine, we have Duck, the Great Western Engine. Other notable characters that I've included would include Trevor, as you just saw on screen there. So here is Wooden Railway Trevor. And then we have figures such as Sir Topham Hatt. And then two figures that can be Donald and Douglas's driver and fireman. And then for rolling stock, for Trevor's cart, for example, Trevor pulls a cartload of hay in this episode.
Down the line, Trevor the traction engine had been struggling with a big cartload of hay. Crossing the tracks, the cart's wheels had broken off.
And I didn't know what to do for his piece of rolling stock, so I just played it safe and gave him a cargo car with a piece of cargo. So you can make up in your head pretty much anything to have Trevor pull in his cart. And then for Donald and Douglas's heavy load, we have the tar and fuel tankers. And then also the 92 Troublesome Brake Van, which I also thought was a safe choice. And then I included the barrel car, because in the yard here where Duck works in the episode, I included the barrel loader. Something interactive and fun for this set. And then we have two great troublesome trucks, because in the yard we see plenty of plain old boring troublesome trucks.
No, that other line. The other line. Donald was cross. Douglas would have known what I meant, he huffed.
Some other miscellaneous details of this set. We have a couple trees to help bring the set to life, as well as the single stone tunnel, because we do get some countryside shots in this episode.
Douglas was working on his own. He chuffed dutifully through the beautiful countryside.
And then we also have in this corner the useful engine shed. And some of you have asked for overhead shots of my custom set, so you get a really good idea of what's going on. So here is an overhead shot.
Thank you, Donald said.
Getting into the story using this set, I just wanted to first start off by saying I absolutely love this episode. I also said this in my latest video where I defend Season 6 because I think it's an absolute gem. But I see why people have problems with this episode in terms of Donald and Douglas in this one. And I really can't say they're wrong, but I love this episode despite all of those issues, just like some people love Thomas and the Magic Railroad despite all of its flaws.
Sausage, bicycle, toothpaste, beach.
I mean, after all, isn't this the best episode of the entire classic series? Anyways, enough chatter, let's get into the story. So we all know Donald and Douglas are pulling a heavy load across the countryside, but Trevor is struggling with a big cartload of hay, and then we get the best scene of the episode.
Then Trevor heard a whistle. "Oh no!" Trevor cried.
And by the way, I only watched this episode under the UK dub of Michael Angelis, so I honestly love the voices he does for Donald and Douglas. Just listen to the bickering here.
"Stop being pushy," Donald snapped. "Don't call me pushy," Douglas snapped back. "You shouldn't have pushed me into the cart," huffed Donald. "You pulled me, you mean," argued Douglas.
Yeah, can we hear that one more time? That was too good.
"You shouldn't have pushed me into the cart," huffed Donald. "You pulled me, you mean," argued Douglas.
So after the accident, Donald and Douglas refuse to speak to each other for the rest of the day, but later on, the Fat Controller needs someone to help Duck out at the smelter's yards.
The next day, the Fat Controller needed an engine to help Duck at the smelter's yards. "May I go, sir?" said Donald eagerly.
And I feel like this is the scene where people start to have a problem with this episode.
"Won't you miss one another?" he asked. "I know I'd miss Annie and Clarabelle." "I'll work better on my own. I have work to do," huffed Donald.
So Donald enjoys working with Duck at first, but then things start to go wrong.
"Did you shunt those trucks onto the other line?" Donald asked. "You said you wanted them on the other line," Duck replied. "No, that other line. The other line."
So while Duck and Donald are working together, Douglas is puffing through the countryside all on his own.
But Douglas had no one to share it with. Although he tried not to, he was beginning to miss his twin.
Alright, so after that scene, we have to make some additions to this set. So we have the gristmill here below this viaduct. And then how can we not add the windmill after seeing that classic Season 6 and Season 7 countryside windmill shot? And so this set really could have been a massive mega set because this scene takes place at Knapford Station where Douglas's driver takes him to visit Donald.
I was just passing, said Douglas. Have you come to say you're sorry? Donald sniffed. This made Douglas very cross. I've nothing to be sorry for.
And so another reason why I love this episode, I love the explanation for Donald's crash here.
The next day, Donald was in a bad mood. Duck could see he was getting too close to the buffers.
And so I love this because not every accident on Sodor has to happen because of the troublesome trucks. It can just happen naturally, such as this one here.
Look out, he shouted, but it was too late.
And I really love how mad Donald's driver gets.
Donald's driver was very cross. This wouldn't have happened if you were working with Douglas, he said. Donald knew he was right.
And I always thought this was a fun scene here.
Donald's in trouble, said Duck. Donald in trouble, Douglas cried. I'm on my way.
And then we get Douglas pulling Donald back onto the rails with the Scottish theme in the background.
He finally pulled his twin gently back onto the tracks. He was relieved Donald wasn't hurt.
And watching this scene back, I can see how people don't like this line from Duck here.
You don't have to have a row about who's sorry, chuckled Duck. Just be glad you're back together.
And so that is the entire episode, Twin Trouble, recreated using this Thomas Wooden Railway story set. And so I feel like this set is a pretty dang good one. There's lots of track space for these engines to go around. There's plenty of rolling stock to go around between them as well. I love getting Trevor in a story set, of course. We get a lot of nice pieces in this set. Talking about the episode itself, I really see the problems that people have with it on this latest rewatch, which was about 5 minutes ago before making this video. But I still am going to say that I love this episode. It's very nostalgic for me. We get Donald, Douglas, and Duck all in the same episode, and we start off with a bang with a great crash with Trevor at the railway crossing as a heavy train of Donald, Douglas, and a bunch of trucks is coming straight for him.
Oh no, Trevor cried.
And I just love having these two engines in a story set. I absolutely love their wooden railway models. As you can see, I'm getting these close-up, very clear shots. These models are just so satisfying to look at, whether it's the newer style of Douglas or the older 1996 Donald model. And who can forget about the 1994 round roof Duck you would get in this set? So that is going to be it for today's video and today's custom story set. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments section below. And let me know how you feel about this episode as a whole. And while you're at it, let me know how you feel about Season 6 because I feel like it's a very interesting topic. But without further ado, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.